Yo, still got the mics, still got it working. Um, Shout out to Stu Threads. We went to go do a shoot today for him for his suits. He put me in this very nice olive green suit today with a black turtleneck underneath. Super nice. The studio that we went to was super nice. So very pleased about that. Also went climbing today, and then now relaxed a little bit, ate. Now it's time for some reading. So without further ado, let's get into it. All nature is synergistic. Ecology is a word that basically describes the synergism in nature. Everything is related to everything else. It's in the relationship that creative powers are maximized, just as the real power in these seven habits is in the relationship to each other. Not just in the individual habits themselves, the relationship of the parts is also the power in creating a synergistic culture inside a family or an organization. The more genuine the involvement, the more sincere and sustained the participation in analyzing and solving problems, the greater the release of everyone's creativity and of their commitment to what they create. This, I'm convinced, is the essence of the power in the Japanese approach to business, which has changed the world marketplace. Synergy works, it's a correct principle. It is the crowning achievement of all the previous habits. It is effectiveness in interdependent reality. It is teamwork, team building, the development of unity and creativity with other human beings. Although you cannot control the paradigms of others in an interdependent interaction, or the synergistic process itself, a great deal of synergy is within your circle of influence. Your own internal synergy is completely within the circle. You can respect both sides of your own nature, the analytical side and the creative side. You can value the difference between them and use that difference to catalyze creativity. You can be synergistic within yourself even in the midst of a very adversarial environment. You don't have to take insults personally. You can step aside negative energy. You can look for the good in others and utilize that good, as different as it may be, to improve your point of view and to enlarge your perspective. You can exercise the courage in interdependent situations to be open to express your ideas, your feelings, and your experiences in a way that will encourage others to be open also. You can value the difference in other people. When someone disagrees with you, you can say, good, you see it differently. You don't have to agree with them. You can simply affirm them, and you can seek to understand. When you see only two alternatives, yours and the wrong one, you can look for a synergistic third alternative. There's almost always a third alternative. If you work with a win-win philosophy and really seek to understand, you usually can find a solution that will be better for everyone concerned. Application suggestions. Think about a person who typically sees things differently than you do. Consider ways in which those differences might be used as stepping stones to third alternative solutions. Perhaps you could seek out his or her views on a certain project or problem, valuing the different views you are likely to hear. Make a list of people who irritate you. Do they do they rep, rep, represent different views that could lead to synergy if you had greater intrinsic security and value the difference? Identify a solution in which you desire great teamwork and synergy. What conditions would you need to exist and support synergy? What can you do to create those conditions? The next time you have a disagreement or confrontation with someone, attempt to understand the concerns underlying the person's position. Address those concerns in a creative and mutually beneficial way. New insights on habit 6, synergize, by Sean Covey. Sergey had been studying computer science at Stanford University for 2 years when he was assigned to help new students at spring orientation. That morning, he was slated to show a guy named Larry around the campus. They didn't hit it off right away and found each other quite obnoxious. They disagreed on nearly everything, but eventually they had so much fun contradicting each other in every topic that they became friends. While both Sergey and Larry liked computers, they were total opposites. Sergey was a party guy, Larry was private and reserved. Sergey couldn't sit still. Larry had one painstakingly built a printer out of Lego bricks. When they later worked together as part of Larry's dissertation, they experimented with a new way to search the internet. At that time, you would you would type a word into the computer, and the internet would spit back how many times the word showed up and where. Larry thought it would be interesting to search for links, not for words. He figured the more often a website was linked to another website, the more important it was. Using his approach, search results would come up on your screen in order of importance. Sergey and Larry called their new paradigm back rub because it counted the number of links back to an original website. To run the program, they filed Larry's room with so many cheap computers that the university's network nearly shut down. So they moved their project into a friend's garage. Years later, more than a billion people use Backrub, now called Google, the company Larry Page and Sergey Brin started in a dorm. The two college guys who founded Google rarely agreed on anything. What would have happened if they had always seen eye to eye? What if they had exactly the same talents? What if they both been alike, either introverts or extroverts? Clearly, they needed each other's strengths to build one of the world's greatest companies. Neither would have done it alone. Believe in third alternatives. After working with thousands of organizations, we have learned at Franklin Covey that synergy works. It is not just a nice theory on or an ideal. Life is a team sport, and with the right attributes, attitude, and skills, you can find synergistic answers to complex problems. Not all of the time, but most of the time. To find third alternatives, you have to believe they exist. You have to believe in the idea that by working together, we can find a solution that is better than what either of us had in mind. If you don't believe this, if you're thinking synergy is unrealistic and it is either your way or my way, you will never master it. A key building block to finding third alternatives is to set aside your ego and acknowledge that you need the collective intelligence of everyone involved to find the best solution. Every individual is smart in different ways and everyone can contribute. Increasingly, science is teaching us about how complex a thing intelligence is. Howard Gardner, a psychologist who teaches at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, proposes 9 different types of intelligence and suggests that individuals possesses one or more of these attributes. Number 1, spital, ability to find oneself in space both large and small. Linguistic, ability with words written and spoken. Logical, mathematical, ability to deal with logic, numbers, and reasoning. Uh, Kinesthetic, uh, coordination, sense of timing, good reflexes, hard hand dexterity. Musical, sensitivities to sounds, tones, rhythms, and pitch. Interpersonal, a sensitivity to others' moods and motives, the ability to cooperate, get along, and be team players. Intrapersonal, ability to self reflect and decipher one's own feelings. Naturalist, ability to make consequential distinctions in the natural world among animals, plants, clouds, and other con- con- configurations. Existential, the tendency to raise big questions about life and to search for answers. Yet another building block to finding third alternatives is conversation. We must learn to communicate with one another a lot. We need to brainstorm, talk through ideas, bounce ideas off each other, and go back to the drawing board again and again and again. Wilbur and Orville Wright would have never invented the airplane without a great deal of discussion and a thorough valuing of each other's differences. Shortly before his death, Wilbur made the statement that nearly everything that was done in our lives has been the result of conversations, suggestions, and discussions between us. At local TV stations, the news and sales departments are often in conflict. Such was the case with meteorologist Travis Koshko, who shared with me how his TV station was able to find a third alternative to a conflict through healthy communication and brainstorming. For many years, my television station did a 3-degree guarantee contest that incentivized incorrect temperature forecasts. Every time I missed the previous day's forecast high by more than 3 degrees, we would give away a small prize from the segment sponsor. After nearly 10 years of doing this segment, it was obvious the contest was becoming stale. The number of viewers signing up for the contest kept decreasing. We weren't missing the forecast high very often, which was great in terms of our forecasting reputation, but also meant we never gave anything away. The number of viewers signing up for the contest eventually dropped off to near zero, and it seemed the contest was failing in terms of sponsor exposure and viewer interest. I wondered if we would cancel the entire segment, but our account executive, Josephine, wanted to keep it to maintain revenue for the station. We were at odds and needed a change. So I approached Josephine with a new idea. Why not restructure the contest to a lottery format? We would start with a small jackpot, $19 to match our station channel number, and every day we forecast within 3 degrees we'd add another $5 to the jackpot. We'd give away the entire jackpot when we are off by more than 3 degrees, and the jackpot would then restart at $19. This way there was continuing incentive for us to accurate and for people to sign up for the contest as the price increased. The first thing I noticed was that Josephine was totally open to my influence and really liked my idea. We then worked to refine and polish the idea so that it met everyone's needs, hers, mine, the sponsors, and the stations. Well, it didn't take long for our contest to become a big success. The number of people who signed up for it skyrocketed. At one point, we had a run of 41 consecutive correct days, which yielded our largest ever jackpot. It created a lot of buzz on social media, and many people would stop me outside of work to talk about the jackpots. Our sponsor was very pleased with the rampant contest too. It would have been easy to let the contest flounder and lose a valuable opportunity, but because Josephine and I were willing to create a new alternative, everyone involved ended up a winner. I got to maintain my reputation as an accurate meteorologist. Josephine increased revenue for the station, and our viewers won a lot of money. I'll take a pause there. Um, you know, if one thing's not working and you somehow come up with an idea and you're able to communicate it well enough for your team members or organization to understand your idea, but then to be able to execute it with them is very important. Um, I think that says a lot about not only who has the vision, but the well skilled leader someone needs to be to make sure that whoever has the vision is able to bring the good individuals around them. Not good, but good. Be a good team player to make sure that what is being envisioned um, is well executed. But one thing I definitely wanted to talk about was two things. One, the 9 different types of intelligence. I think that I will look back at this later in my life and will recognize that I am intelligent in one of these 9 categories and I'm not in the other. Now, how can I leverage this level of intelligence to not only influence what I want to pursue in life, but also influence others that may not have this level of intelligence and can grow that intelligence themselves? And what I'm grasping from just reading through these intelligences is that sometimes these come natural to us. But because they come natural to us doesn't mean that it doesn't give us the ability and opportunity to learn new intelligence and grow in those areas. So very important. I will definitely capture this. Another thing that caught my eye for sure was um, it was a passage that was read, and hopefully I could find it, but Mm, man, I had it. I think it's right here. You don't have to take insults personally. You can set aside negative energy, look for the good in others. Okay, yeah. So this passage is right here. You don't. I'm gonna read it. You don't have to take. So you don't have to take insults personally. You can set aside negative energy. You can look for the good in others and utilize that good, as different as it may be, to improve your point of view and to enlarge your perspective. Um, some people don't have high emotional intelligence, meaning they react very, they react like the example that this book has talked about a long time ago about being a soda versus a water. Some people are very active when you shake them up. Now, when you are being reacted on, what kind of energy or how do you take in that energy? And I think what I'm grasping for here is that you don't want to fight fire with fire. If someone is giving you really bad negative energy, take a small step back, analyze, or literally say, hey, I don't want to engage in this conversation. How about we talk about this later? But if you're in the moment, how can you ease the situation and try to fully understand why someone is portraying negative energy or is very upset? And to me, that shows very high in level of intelligence, emotional intelligence, and I think it's something important to to really improve on as we get older. But especially for me, I'm a younger guy. But as we interact with others in this day and age, so yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Happy Saturday. And we'll see you guys on a Sunday.